Welcome back to Connect with Jonathan Mark. We have a really cool episode. I know the last few episodes have been bringing on real people, real cases, all that. But this episode is special to me because, as many of you know, or maybe you don't, but I've been on the Long Island serial killer case for quite some time, brought on by the Second Task Force back in 2018, 2019, before they revived it in like 2020 or 2021. Now that the case has essentially come to a close for most of it, it's just a crazy episode and a crazy feeling for me to kind of have like a full circle moment with this. So I brought on my good friend Kate Casey because I love going through cases with her. She has heard conversations privately about this case that no one has known about or knew about. So to me, I thought it would be great to have her on. And not only that, she surprised me with a story at the end, which is a family mystery story. It's absolutely insane. You're going to want to stick around for the whole thing. Well, welcome back as always. Everyone loves you. I love you. I want to talk about a case that you know I've been working on or worked on, I want to say since we first met.
Probably, yeah.
Yes, you were, obviously people know this, but you were the one who encouraged me to tell people about my law enforcement work and stuff. But this is one of the big cases that I got pulled on to unexpectedly, but also I did not think it would get to this level. And now that it's completely done, I mean, it's pretty much, it is done. So I wanted to give people updates on it and then kind of just explain to them some of the stuff that I did and the private stuff that you know, and then, all of that. So,
okay.
You obviously know about the Long Island serial killer because you and I have spoken about it so much, but you always do your research on it anyway. So,
well, also, there was a doc series on Netflix that I covered. I believe I interviewed maybe the director. And of course, I think they did another documentary on Peacock. So there have been cases. I think what was interesting to me was, and this is really the plight, I think, of every filmmaker, is you hope that when you release it, that people are interested. And I was surprised that there wasn't as much interest in it. And I think it's because there have been so many, the Datelines and the 48 Hours mysteries. So I think people kind of got desensitized to the story. And the other thing about it is, and I have found this to be true in several different cases, is that when the victims are women that were sex workers, there is a desensitizing, I don't know, there's a lack of empathy for the victims. It's almost this feeling of well, they got what they deserved, which I find horrific.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that even not even particularly about this case, but you could talk about other cases too, that if there's a drug addict, even a male, right? It's the same thing. People view it as bottom of the barrel, so they don't.
Alcoholics.
Yeah,
yes.
Drug addicts, things like that. And you are right, because I do think, since I was a kid, I'm telling you, this happened. This started to happen when I was born. All I've heard about is don't go to Gilligo Beach, or the Gilligo murders, guy's gonna get you. And it's since I was a kid. I surfed there all the time growing up. The waves
are the beaches full? Will people go there in the summer?
Yeah. Are they full? Yes. I will say Gilligo is definitely full. I will say that it's a private beach. So if you're not part of the Babylon town or the town that's associated with it, you can't get in, or it's an absurd amount of money to get in. So it's kind of
beach tags. You have to pay a fee.
Yeah. So for me, I have to pay for not that beach because I'm not part of that town. So I go to other beaches, but you have to pay I don't even know what it is because I pay for the beach pass every year. So you pay $200-$300 and you could go unlimited times with it.
I see. Okay.
So I just do that because I surf. So I just don't want to feel like I have to keep doing it. Granted, I haven't been surfing in quite some time. But yeah, so since I was a kid, all I've heard about was this case. Don't go to Gilligo at night. You're going to get murdered and blah, 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 blah. So when I got pulled onto this case, it was a little bit from my perspective, a full circle thing for me because I was since I was a kid, I heard about this. So what is so crazy about this case, like of like what happened, like I want to say a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we'll just say April, Rex Heuermann, who is the person who committed these crimes, he officially pleaded guilty to 8 murders. And what's crazy about this is originally it was only supposed to be 7. So he admitted to an 8th victim when he was in court.
Do you think that there are more that he's just kind of keeping and taunting them?
I think yes. I think there's definitely more. I mean, I think that he got caught with 7 and he threw them a bone with an 8th, right? So like he makes himself, it's not even looking better. It's just, telling them that there's another one. And what's so great about this is that this effectively ends the need for a trial for this whole entire case. And what people don't know, or maybe they do, is that he wanted a trial to happen for each murder that he was convicted of. So he wanted everything to be dragged out a lot longer. So per victim would be one trial, and then another and another. And Ray Tierney, who's the district attorney, great guy, he was like, no. He's like, we're clumping everything together. You're not making this like a spectacle where it's going to be from one to the next, to the next, to the next. And then that's kind of what happened. So it's crazy because it spanned over 2 decades, from 1993 to 2000. So around 2 decades, 2010. So yeah. It's crazy. I mean, at least I think it is. I mean, there's not many serial killers. I mean, there's some obviously that got away with it, but not that got away with it for 20 years.
Well, I think in this case, what I find compelling is it seems like he encircled himself by people who enabled his behavior. A lot of the serial killer cases that we have come to know in the last few years, especially in a documentary form, we find out they were doing this in private and secret, and they had this whole double life. In Rex's case, it seems like there were people that had some sort of idea and they didn't do anything. And maybe that was because they were getting some sort of payout. So I feel like, yes, he's been arrested. He's been convicted. He has been sentenced. I still think this is going to be one of these cases that we will find out more information and other people will be implicated as time goes on.
Yeah. So like I was saying to you privately, and that's part of the stuff that I worked on. So part of the stuff that I worked on for people that don't know was obviously to help identify who the person was. They had an idea of that it was Rex. So they had an idea back in 2018 when I got pulled onto it, but they didn't have enough evidence. And the reason that they didn't have enough evidence is kind of what you just said. He surrounded himself with people that were fairly powerful, I guess you can call it, law enforcement side. And anytime the FBI would get anything, these certain people would make it really hard just to get a simple step forward. They would make it so difficult for them to come in the precinct or the building or this to look at something. And so what happens is that obviously people retire and move on in these positions. So the first task force, I actually had him on, Rich Frankel. He was the first task force, I think back in I want to say 2006, 2007, when this first originally started. And then he got promoted to counterterrorism, the head of it. But then another task force came in and it was still the same thing. And that's when I got pulled on, was with that second task force with the special agent in charge. And they called me the first time and was like, you have 10 minutes or 15 minutes, below my mind, kind of let me see what you can do. That typical stupid BS that sometimes people do. And that's when I identified the unusual R sounding name. But then what they really needed me for, aside from that, was who else was involved. So it opened up a whole other thing. So I do think it's going to be interesting to see how things play out now, because he's going to have to start telling them who was there. And what I wanted to tell people too is how he did it, because he was luring them in with burner phones. So he was primarily going after these sex workers, because kind of what you said, it's it's sad to say these sex workers, obviously they have a life, they have a family and stuff, but they maybe hit a rough patch where they're doing drugs and they were on, Craigslist.
He's also assuming no one's going to go hunting for them. They're not connected to power or money. So he's not going to have to face the victim being on the nightly news.
Exactly. And people were always asking me, like, how did he do it? Like, did he shoot them? Did he whatever? And I can say it now, he strangled them.
That's the modus operandi. And is that typical for a serial killer to have typically just there's one way that they end up committing each act?
It seems like it's the common theme that I've noticed because it's less you would think, right? Someone puts their hands on someone, you're going to get their DNA on them, hair, whatever it is, right? But it's actually, from my understanding, from speaking to a couple of the special agents and stuff, that they do it because there's no noise. I mean, this guy Rex, just so to put in perspective,
he's gigantic.
He's a brick shithouse. Like, he is, I would be concerned seeing him. He looks obviously the way he looks, but he's also like 6'4", like just built like he's a big guy. And then the thing that people don't understand too is that he was very careful of disposing the bodies. So like that was also something interesting too, that like I was learning throughout the process, is that he was spreading them out all along the Gilgo shoreline. So like Gilgo shoreline is like miles upon miles long. And I always said this to people, like people who ever visited Long Island, there's no streetlights there at night. You can get away. Like it's a beach like area. So there's no like streetlights. They don't want that for whatever reason. But when you go in the parkway near it, like Ocean Parkway, then there's streetlights. But typically there's no streetlights, which makes it like, okay, like,
why is this area of the state without streetlights? Is it, and who lives there? Are people that
there's people that live on like,
or that's where they live and work?
So there's like, it's weird. It's not weird, I guess, but it's like an island that you have to take a boat to and from. So like Gilligo's on the highway, but there's people that live on an island kind of outside of it. So to and from, you have to take your own boat. I don't know if you can drive on there. I'm pretty sure you can't. I've never been on that island. I know my parents have, and they said like their friend picked them up in like a dinghy, like a boat.
Okay, why would anyone do that? Okay. So it's remote. It's the perfect place to commit a crime.
Yeah, it's like pitch black, like I was saying, on night highway, miles and miles of beach. So people obviously know about the pizza crust. That's what everyone talks about. Like literally everyone talks about that. What they don't know about is like hair, and what they don't know about is there's like a couple of things. There's the hair, there's the cell phone burner, like phone data. They were able to identify the vehicle that he was in like a while ago. So they were able to kind of like its tire tracks, it's things like that they were able to identify. It was I think it was like a Chevy Avalanche, I'm pretty sure. And his search history.
Okay.
Like people miss all that. They're like the pizza crust. It's like, yeah, that was like the icing on the cake, I guess you could say. But like there was obviously a lot more to that. I don't know. I'm sure you know this, but like, what's so interesting to me is that locked room that he had in his basement, like the wife and the kids and everyone. I was saying this to like some of the FBI, which I won't say their names because they asked me not to, but even my mom or whoever, I'm like, if my dad or my mom had a room in the basement that was deadbolted locked with like all these locks and keys since I was a kid, there's no way I wouldn't be like, what the hell is on the other side of that door?
However, I know this to be true. Lots of families grow up with certain set of rules. And it's not until you get married or you've got a girlfriend and they come to your house that they go, okay, but like normal people don't do that. If you are born into something, you kind of start to believe like every other family's got a basement that with all the hatch locks on,
Right. But like, I think as you get older and you experience different things in life and you go to other people's homes and you don't see that. Like,
then you're like that. But when you're growing up, you're like,
right.
Yeah.
You're
So
like,
your point is like they're adults now.
Yeah, they're adults.
They're terrified of them.
Yeah. And like people's big question, obviously, which is a fair question, is like really towards the, it's not, I mean, I guess it's towards the kids, but it's really towards the wife. It's like, how do you not know? But also she was going back, I think it was, I could be wrong because I I didn't work on that side of the case, obviously. I only worked on like different aspects of it. But Argentina, I think
she traveled quite a bit. It seems like the murders match up with the times that she was gone.
Yeah.
By the way, he's probably like, you know what? You should totally go visit your relatives.
Yeah, like he
trying
was
to get her out of the house.
Yeah, like I know personal stories from people that were on the LIRR, which if people don't know that, it's the train that's from Long Island to Manhattan. And Rex was on there, and Rex was like commenting on people's hair, commenting like he was drinking and like getting friendly with like younger females. Like there's videos that came out later, but I do know people that had like firsthand accounts. And for what people don't know too, my grandfather lived 3 houses away from him. So like there's pictures of me as a kid when I'm like, you know, jumping into a pile of leaves. You look behind, there's a disgusting red house. That's Rex's house.
Oh, man, that's the cover of the book that you got to write.
Right?
The serial killer that
disgusting red house. But so people have been asking me about this case, and like they're like, what's his sentence? Well, obviously he's facing like multiple life sentences and stuff. But what's really interesting is he has agreed to work with the FBI to help with other serial killer investigations and really to link him to other victims that he did.
Are we positive in these situations? Like this guy's not going to he's angry at law enforcement and he might, you know, screw with them and give them that information.
I heard from like people that speak to him, he's just like, it is what it is. Like, you know, like he's more so like, I have nothing to hide. And people said this a lot about him. And I'm not saying he's a good guy. He's the biggest piece of crap, obviously, ever. But he's very intelligent, is what they were saying.
Well, that's why you got to play the long game so he doesn't outplay you.
Yeah.
With a person like that, he hasn't killed for a while. So is he just sitting in his cell thinking about murder all the time?
So what I've been told is that he's basically just been very cooperative with, you know, the COs, the corrections, and with the FBI and with the police. They moved him away from Gen Pop or the general population because there's been a lot of threats that people want to take out a serial killer. Like, you know, people that are serving life in prison, they're like, I want to be the guy to kill the serial killer.
Wow.
So they kind of removed him from there, from what I understand. And people don't know this too, but there's been like so many task force and like, you know, that helped with this case with the FBI. It wasn't just one. It was very, I think people know this. It was like lack of coordination, like misleads. And the biggest thing is under-resourced. Now I mean, you know this because I've told you this. So the victims were in burlaps, right? Like the burlap sacks. There's a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he did a lot of construction on Long Island linked to Rex. He owns a lot of stuff, like a lot of construction stuff. And the stuff that he used were burlaps, and it matched the exact burlaps that the bodies were wrapped in. So it opens up another thing. Unfortunately, he took his own life after Rex got caught.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah. And his executive assistant also took his own life, I'm pretty sure a week after that person did.
There you go.
Yeah. So basically what people don't know too is that he had contact with over 70 plus sex workers. Some of them are still missing, obviously. Things that people don't know is his disturbing like search history.
Oh.
So like that's why I wanted to bring up this case. And like I shouldn't take any credit. I'm a very small piece to a very large puzzle with an amazing team that they did everything. But it is cool to see like when I got pulled onto something, like there's an end to it and the end just happened. I'm hoping that the families get some type of justice and closure like with this, but I doubt it because it's been so like, I don't know. This guy was just there smiling, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if it's possible for anybody to have full closure when someone dies, but let alone in such a horrific way and at the hands of somebody who has no regard for them, for the collateral damage that he created.
Yeah, it's a bit disturbing. I think what's so disturbing is like the life that he was living throughout the entirety of this, just like going to the city, working as an engineer. He was on the LIRR. He was walking up and down the streets as if like he didn't have this very dark secret.
Right.
So I think that's disturbing. And I think I told you to in private, it has nothing to do with this case, but one of the FBI people who works on like missing person cases showed me a map of the United States. He would show it to me and it would darken where there's missing people and unsolved cases, right? And it was like pretty much the entire US was like filled.
Mm-hmm.
And then he showed me another map of where they have suspected serial killers and murderers where they're like zoning in. And it's pretty scary to see how many are on their radar of things.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I always tell people is just keep your head up. You don't
Pay
know
attention. And look out for other people in the process of it.
Yeah. So like I wanted you to come on because you've been on, I guess, on private calls with me and stuff about this case. And I think it was cool to do like full circle about it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't sound like it's ending anytime soon for you.
No. There's other things that are going to happen with me working on this case that is going to be partnering with FBI again with some of this stuff. But I'm happy he's at least serving 8 life sentences. There's no way for him to get out. And the least he can do after being a horrible human is partnering with the FBI. And I could be wrong. And I think I said this to you this morning. I could be wrong. But I think the last serial killer publicly to work with the feds was like Ted Bundy.
That's right. Yep.
I think. So like this is like a pretty big thing. The fact that I think part of the reason, obviously, he got away with it for so long and they believe there's more people. Obviously, there's more victims attached probably. But because his intelligence level and how he was able to get away with it, even from the help that he had, he was still able to like maneuver away from things. It's
like Frank Abagnale. Remember for Catch Me If You Can, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie? It was like loosely based on his life. He was a career robber,
right,
con artist, and then he went to work for the government. And I think what he was really great at was thinking 2 steps ahead of the other criminals so that he could help law enforcement, look out for potential crimes and kind of who they are and how they operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like it kind of falls back into like when people at first were completely shocked that I worked with law enforcement, being like law enforcement uses mediums and stuff. Yeah. Well, it falls back to the same thing. It's like law enforcement is using a serial killer to like get information, because if it was as normal as people are making it with like Rex working with them, there's other serial killers that they've caught in from Ted Bundy to Rex, and they haven't used them like publicly or anything to help them. So it's interesting how law enforcement now is adapting to different protocols to use outside things to help catch different types of people.
Mm-hmm. I just think about all these people, and this is like their daily job, having to be knee into this. Like, how do you turn it off? And how do you, wow.
Yeah.
We gather here tonight to bring women back to their rightful place.
The Testaments, a new Hulu original series from the executive producers of The Handmaid's Tale.
It's easier to accept a story than believe that the people around you are monsters.
The battle isn't over.
There comes a time when you have to take action, when you have to choose your own destiny.
Never quite as it seems. Watch the new Hulu original series, The Testaments, streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
I hear you have a story for me.
You know, I was like, I get to watch Bravo shows and you guys have to like look at dead bodies. Yeah. Okay. So, you know, for my Saturday series episode, I interview somebody each week who's got like a great story. So I put it out in my Facebook group, like, listen, if anybody has some interesting stories, I know some of you do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like you were adopted, you did a DNA test, so you knew a scammer, anything like that. And I've been overwhelmed with people telling me about their DNA stories. And oddly, it's a lot of people that are finding out about their fathers, that their father that raised them is not, in fact, the birth father, which is kind of a bummer because I always hoped that would happen to me.
You're like my joking, but not really.
Yeah. Okay. So today I interviewed Sally. And okay. Sally's from a extremely wealthy Greenwich, Connecticut, New York City family.
Wow.
And she grows up the youngest of 4 kids. Her siblings are all a lot older than her. So it would, on paper, it would be like, is this a whoopsie baby, right?
Yeah,
She's 10 years younger than number 3.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, when she was born, it was like a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and then
the
baby.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So her father's name is William.
Okay. Very strong name. Yeah.
Strong name. My dad's name too. Okay.
The grandfather. Yeah.
So she goes through life. She goes to Tulane. She works in documentary film and then works for her family's foundation. She decides to take a DNA test and just like for shits and giggles.
Right.
And then she realizes that she's connected to a cousin. And she's like, I kind of know that last name. That's kind of weird. So connects to them and they say, yeah, I grew up in New York. This is our last name. And then names this man Richard. He says, that was my uncle Richard. And she's like, wait a minute. Richard and that last name is the same last name. And he's the same age and location of my dad's best friend.
Oh my God.
Yes. So she goes to lunch with her mom. Now, her father has just passed away.
Okay.
Like in, I believe, 2024, maybe. Like, not like too...
fairly recently. Yeah.
He's since passed. She goes to lunch with a mom, brother, and a sister. And she pulls up this communication she's been having with this cousin. And she's like, yeah, isn't this crazy? She shows the brother. And the brother's like looking at her like, cut, like, stop, like, bury it, like, stop. And she says, I don't know what comes over me, but I look at my mom and I say, Mom, is there something that you have to tell me? Mom, is there something that you have to tell me? And her mom says, oh, it was just a one-night thing.
Oh my God.
So,
oh my God.
She finds out that her birth father was her father's best friend.
Who she had an affair or like a one-night stand with.
So she says like a one-night stand. So her father's name is William.
Yeah.
And William, his best friend is Richard. She finds out Richard is her birth father. Richard's married to Holly. Now, shortly after she was conceived, Richard and Holly moved to Kentucky for his job. He comes back like 18 months later or 3 years later at that point. She's 18 months old.
Yeah.
They've adopted 3 children. So Richard and his wife adopt 3 boys.
Okay.
I'm like, that's a lot of children in a short period of time.
Yeah.
They move back to the East Coast and they're all hanging out as like family friends. They hang out with this family all the time. She calls him Uncle Richard.
Yeah.
And Aunt Holly. And she's being raised essentially with these 4 new adopted boys of Richard, family friends. Then they move away again for a little bit to like Indiana. Then they come back. So he goes to her debutante ball and her graduation. He's at her wedding, all this stuff. Richard has since passed away and her birth father has since passed away. And now her mother has passed away. So she's like untangling. She was raised in a family, Jewish. So that was one of the weird things when she gets a DNA test. She's like, how am I 50% Irish English? That's weird.
Right. That's kind
of how it all unravels.
Oh
so this is what I need you to do, because in the conversation, I thought, interesting that Richard and his wife move away and come back, move away and come back. And the mother says to her, oh, it's just a one-time thing. I wonder if it was a one-night thing or if they actually had an affair going on for some time. Did he fall deeply in love with her? Is that the reason that he kept coming back, is that he wanted to see the child? Or did he also like miss this woman that he probably fell in love with? I don't know. Maybe her mother wasn't totally in love with him in the same way that he was in love with her, but maybe he awakened something in her at that period of time.
Right.
And then lastly, did the father that raised her know and just not say anything? She thinks he would have never stayed friends with Richard if he knew that he was the real father. Now, important to note, Sally doesn't look similar to her siblings, who are shorter in stature. Richard was like 6'1", long and lean.
Yeah.
She's 5'10".
Oh, wow.
And she says when she looks back at the photo, and I sent it to you, the photo, she's like, I do look like him when he was younger. However, people, I think back in the day, they aged much faster than people.
Definitely.
Now.
I'm looking at the pictures now.
Okay. So that's what I need you to do. Okay. So we're going to look at the pictures. Okay. So the first picture is Sally on the left.
Yeah.
The guy on the right is her real birth father.
Yeah. I mean, they look
Thank you.
They look incredibly alike.
Incredibly alike. And I was like, was this like Arnold Schwarzenegger and the maid who had the baby with, who looks exactly like him? Like, doesn't anybody notice it? And she's like, not that they said anything to me about, but I mean,
they look incredibly alike.
Right?
Like their face is pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, the dad was like Richard's like a stud. Okay, now scroll to the next one.
Okay.
This is a picture of her mother with Richard 2 months before she's conceived.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's looking at her with this love.
Love.
Yeah.
And she looks happy as can be. So do we think that this was a one-night thing, or do we think there was like an emotional or
I think there was an emotional
sexual affair?
Yeah, I think it was an emotional and sexual affair.
And it was going on for a little bit?
Yeah, because like I'm looking at this picture. I mean,
they look like
as happy as can be. Like unicorns, rainbows, and butterflies, like all over them. That's
Now she says Richard was brilliant. I mean, at Harvard educated.
He looks very smart.
Very goofy, unlike her birth father. And she feels like she's got the goofiness that Richard has.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if her mom, who, by the way, gorgeous. Like the mom's just like
unbelievable. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yep.
Do you think she was like, oh my God, he's so funny and goofy and like loved his sense of humor?
Probably. Because like typically it's probably the opposite of what she was with, right? So it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think there was an affair going on for some time?
I do. I mean, I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, holy crap. Yeah.
Okay. The next picture. This may be the first time that he met her. He moved back. That's with one of his sons that he adopted. She's 18 months old. Does he know right now in this picture that she's his daughter? Is that why he came back?
I think he suspects it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he knows for certain, but I think he suspects it. I mean, even in this picture as well, they look pretty similar.
Yeah.
Like.
Okay. So do we think he moved back 2 times because of a job? Or do you think there's some layer of like trying to find his way back because he wants to be around the mother?
I think it's around the mother. I think he loved
for her.
Yeah. I think he loved her. Yeah.
Now he's at all of these things of her life. I said, I bet you like in the moments, like, when we see our life run past us, you probably would see he was at the back of the gymnasium and all these things. He seemed to have a real affinity for her.
Yep.
So do you think he looked at her as like his daughter, or he respectfully was like...
I think he looked at her as his daughter, but didn't want to blow up
the family.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. By the way, he looks like Joe Scarborough in that picture. Okay. The last photo is her father that raised her.
Yeah. He looks nothing like her.
Does he know... Do you think he knew that A, she had an affair, the wife had an affair, and B, that the daughter was really...
No.
Okay, she doesn't think so either.
No. No way. He seems like a very strong person to me. He seems like he would
be like, pound sand.
Yeah,
I'm never speaking to you again.
Yes, 100%. He seems very strong like that. Yeah.
But he did. Well, guys are dumb. I guess they're dumb. He's not like, that's weird. Richard looks just like Sally.
100%. He probably didn't put two and two together.
Man. By the way, when someone dies, and they find out the truth of it, are they pissed? Are they crushed? Or they're just like, it's all love.
I think there's an element of like a realization of being like, oh, like eureka, whatever.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they could be. I mean, typically when people come through, they're always content and happy. But I do think there's an element of like when they're like eureka moment or something, and everything kind of like they, like you said, they look at life and they can see it played out like a certain way.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like everything makes sense to them. Yeah.
So do we think that in this picture, when she's with him, previous to this, does he hear, oh, Sally had another baby? It's not, another important thing to note. Again, Holly, who was married to Richard, apparently had a couple of miscarriages.
Okay.
So do you think he said to her mother, like, I'm shooting blanks? Like, he didn't know that he could get someone pregnant, or he knew and he was just like, I'll keep this on the DL?
I don't think he knew or didn't know, right? Like, I think he was just doing it just to do it because he was in love with her.
He was in love with her.
Yeah. Yep.
Man. I mean, I don't blame the guy. She was a stud.
Yeah, she is a stud.
That is a handsome couple, even though they were having an affair. I mean, yeah.
It is crazy how how you get these people. Like,
I know, isn't the best?
It is amazing.
So all of those parents have now deceased. So these pictures are taken in like the 1970s.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's what I just love, is that you can help these people who have these life dynamics. And it's like when people die, you're like, oh, I guess I'll never know the truth. But in your case, you can actually help them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've done that before. I've done that before where I helped someone find their biological birth dad or birth mom. It's crazy. It's crazy that you get, like I said, you get all these people. Like,
wait, one other question. Do you think that the mom was bracing for impact when Richard came back and met Sally for the first time, and the duration of her growing up? Was she like,
probably,
oh my God, I hope William doesn't figure this out?
100% probably, yeah. I think so. I'm going to assume yes.
Yeah.
I don't think she's stupid.
Do you think she's still, even when Richard's with Holly and they've got these cute little boys and they're playing and they're in the backyard, do you think there's a part of her that was like, God, I love that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I said to Sally. I said, I bet we can imagine this. Like, someone's at the middle age of their life and like somebody awakens that part of them where like, I'm sexy again, or I'm laughing again. I've been raising these 3 kids and I don't have a career, and I mean, a woman of that time in 1970s, and this guy's like lighting up her fire.
Yep.
Wow. So to imagine that she's got this affair, she gets pregnant, and then the guy's the best friend, and she's just like, Richard's going to be around with Holly.
Yeah. Imagine me and you just travel the country doing this and helping cold cases.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Like 2 things.
Done. Fine. Happy.
Yeah. We go from murder to like finding someone's like biological like mom or dad. Like,
I know.
We just flip-flop.
The thing too is, I'm a nerd who's like, okay, I got to see the photos. Like, I have to like place it all. And I know the people who listen to this stuff, they're like, all right, okay, I got to see Richard. Like, I mean, the guy was a stud.
I mean, I could post it when they come out, but I don't know if Sally would want that.
No, Sally's fine with it.
Oh, okay.
I think she's fine. I said, I'm going to talk to you. Can I ask? She goes, oh my gosh, yes, please ask him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She wants to write a book. She's like writing a book about it. She said, there are people in my family that don't know about this, but she's like, I'm trying to write a book about it.
That's amazing. Okay.
I was like, I think this could be a movie.
Definitely. This is like a rom-com type of.
It's bonkers.
Yeah, it's insane.
And then that first picture where she's like side by side. I mean,
they literally, if people saw the side by side, they would be like, yeah, no crap.
That no one was like, but then again, like I said, like I think that people of that era, they aged a lot quicker.
They did.
Look at old pictures of our grandparents. You'd be like, whoa, and Nellie, like that lady's old and she'd be like 42.
I always say this. I say like when my mom was 40 and my grandma was 40, my grandma looked like she was 75 and my mom looked like she was 30. Like it's weird. And like even today, like my grandma who passed, she was, I think, like 89 or something.
Yeah.
But she looked like she was like 102. Like towards.
Oh, yeah.
And then
the smoking, the drinking, the stress, not having access to Botox at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Like my mom and my dad look not their age. Like at all.
No, I can attest that. Your dad, dead sexy. He could have a modeling campaign.
Everyone says he looks like George Clooney. That's
he does. Right. The guy looks good. The guy looks good. And the best part about him, he doesn't care and is oblivious to it.
Yes, that's my dad.
He's just moving about. And the guy could not love his wife anymore.
Yes. Like for people, he
hangs the moon. He's looking
my dad's
for her.
The best guy, yeah.
And
like
the
funny thing too, and I won't take up too much more of your time of this. I was cleaning out my room at my parents' house and
wait, are you dying? You're like, okay. Did you have to keep the love letter that I wrote to Lisa?
No. It's actually thankfully not that bad. I think I would want to jump in front of traffic if I saw that. But I was going through the stuff, and there's obviously stuff with my Uncle Larry and whatever who passed away. But for people that don't know, my dad was a phenomenal football player and was a phenom of a baseball player.
Killer. Star.
So my dad, I looked, he got these I'm like, what the hell is this? Because I had my awards for lacrosse and stuff. There was like all division, all American, all that stuff that I had. And then I pull out this award and something falls. And I'm like, what the hell is this? He got like outstanding player of the year for football for like Floyd. And then I'm like, what the hell? And then I look at something else. So for people that don't know, my dad got drafted to the MLB out of high school.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Like to the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see this book and I'm like, what the heck is this book? And I open it and it's my grandma put all of his baseball pictures, all like future teams and stuff in there.
Unbelievable.
And my dad is the most humble person. So my dad, I showed him this book. He goes, nice. And just like put it aside. Like he didn't even he was like, okay. Like for me, if I got drafted, I'd be like, I wouldn't shut the hell up about it. I'd be like, I got drafted out of high school.
Have you met everybody at 20 years old? They put it on their Instagram reels.
Yeah, like I got drafted. Like this is what happened. Like the Dodgers wanted me, and my dad got like D1 offers for football too, and like baseball. So my dad was just like the most humble guy. So it was so cool to see that because I never saw that. Never.
Yeah, you gotta like, for your brother's birthday or something, you gotta put that like a picture in a frame.
Yeah.
You make a copy of it and put it up. Yeah.
I have to. I mean, it's my dad's name.
By the way, your mom, she just must be like, I can't believe like how hot my husband is.
I don't even want to know about that.
Why? I mean, No. My mom was like, your father was horrible, but he was dead sexy. Like hot news.
No, my dad, like, for people that also don't know this, he decided to go to college instead of, playing football and stuff and baseball. He was a 2-sport athlete instead of going to the league, and because he wanted to make my grandma proud, because he would be like, So my dad was like, yeah, I'm done with this stuff. Just started playing rugby, became like one of the best rugby players.
Of course. Because if you're good if you're like that elite, you can just pick up anything.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to play baseball. Yeah, I'm not going to play football anymore. I'm just going to play rugby. And it's like...
Does he do pickleball or anything like that?
He can't. He got... So like my dad just has like injuries and stuff.
Yeah, right.
From it.
By the way, maybe a blessing. Maybe you would have had like, CT or something like,
Wait, this is because I played college lacrosse, right? Like back in the day, I got an email from the
Back in the day, it's not that long ago.
I got a letter from the NCAA being like, you're part of a potentially like a lawsuit about CTE and we want to test you because the years that you played were like heavily contact like lacrosse, and they're like, they didn't have the right protocols.
Okay, but you need to kind of go, I do have some residual issues. I can now speak to dead people.
I got hit so hard that like
now they communicate with spirit. Yeah.
I saw that email and I was just like, delete.
I
was like, delete. Like, I'm not getting involved. I mean, I did MMA. I still do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like I get hit in the head.
Yeah.
Like I got punched in the face last night by accident when I was rolling. So I'm like, I get CT. Like, I feel like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I can't. No.
Have you ever watched the documentary on Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a doozy.
It's scary.
Yeah. My friend's a neurologist here, and he works with a lot of football players who had that.
Well, then I'll go to your friend privately, but I won't do it like through the NCAA. Like I'm not doing that. Like,
yeah. Wow.
It was so random. I was like, look at that. I'm like, why am I getting an email from the NCAA? And that's when I saw like the whole thing. I'm like, what the hell? Like, no, I'm not.
Do you know when I was driving home from spring break, I got a call from a lacrosse recruiter, and Jack is still in 8th grade. That's a well-oiled machine.
But anyway, thank you for coming on.
I can't wait to go tell Sally what happened. Yeah.
Tell everyone about your show because everyone loves your show. So,
by the way, Sally, at the beginning of it, I was like, how do you feel about your name being this popular? Like with that song.
Oh, yeah.
Sally.
Yep.
Do you have a song that like people used to sing to you all the time?
No.
The
only one that I have was from my Aunt Sue, like Run Around Sue.
Run Around Sue. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Jenny 8675309. I think that was very hard for like my older sister's generation. If you were named Jenny. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. Reality Life with Kate Casey.
Yep.
Everywhere where you get podcasts, my weekly list of what to watch and unscripted TV. That's a really good thing for people to sign up for because every week I just tell you what to watch. I mean, by the way, lots of good sports ones this week. By the way, Jerry West, the logo is one of them on Prime about Jerry West. And I was so excited about it. And I asked the publicist, oh, great. Can I interview him? And she said, he's dead.
My God.
I was like, oh, maybe I should have looked into that. I guess it was recently, but I was like, oh, that's a bummer. Okay, so go to katecasey.substack.com. Or I guess I could just interview you and you could channel Jerry West and then I could get all the answers. Yeah.
Good.
Bonus podcasts and just follow me on socials. Instagram at KKCCA, TikTok it's KKC, everything else at KKC.
Beautiful. Well, thank you.
You got it.
Kate, thank you so much for coming on. As always, we love you. And guys, go follow her at Kate Casey and Reality Life with Kate Casey. It's a great show. All right, guys, thank you so much. And please do not forget to follow all my social media at Jonathan Mark Medium on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And also, we are so close to 500 5-star rate and reviews that when I hit it, I'm going to be giving away a reading. I do it for every 100 reviews that I do. And if you have any cases you want me to talk about or you need my assistance with, please send over an email at connectjonathanmark@gmail.com. All right, guys, thank you so much.